Hi, it's Hillary. I know you're thinking, like, who's she? It's been like 14 years since she was on. I'm sorry. Life got a little rough. Um, but I have moved. I am in my new place. Um, it's a temporary rental. I'm renting a house. I'm living in downtown Atlanta. It's the first time I've lived in an urban situation. So despite that, sometimes my identity is sometimes just randomly called urban. I'm living for the first time in an urban setting. So it's a little pet peeve on my part. But anyway, I wrote notes here because I rambled on the 900 times I did this before today. I'm living in a house and still I moved here I think 3 weeks ago. I think it'll be a month this Friday. It'll either be 3 weeks or a month this Friday. Anyway, neither here nor there. And one of the issues I had, why am I touching my face? One of the issues I had was coming from a huge craft slash workroom slash office, which was the size of a bedroom, with ample closet space. And I had my sewing machine and my cutting table and my desk and, my TV and my bookcase and my giant sofa chair all set up there. And it was glorious. I have now scaled down to an office space that is probably about the size of a walk-in closet. So I had a lot of craft stuff as I've been making stuff for like 40 years to try to shove in that room, and that's not going to happen. That's 10 pounds of sausage in a 5-pound sack. And so I had to get rid of a lot of stuff, which is going to bring us to what I've been doing in the resale world. I have made that jump. I know you've heard about it. I made that jump to live sales. I made it, I think it was 2 years ago this April, through a group called Thrifting Atlanta. That was my first live sale on Facebook, where with them, you would purchase your time slot, you would purchase your hour, and it was not cheap. I think it was $74, $75, depending on how you got your sale information. So if they sent you a spreadsheet of everybody that bought everything and blah, 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 it was $75. And I think if you did your own spreadsheet and went back through the live and watched everything and said, okay, this person got number 16, and then, found their email information and everything like that, I think it was $54.99. But still, you had to be certain that you were going to make your money back in your hour. I did find that I could show up to 80 items in an hour. So that gave me a good enough opportunity to figure out, okay, how do I make my money back? I did probably between Thrifting Diva and Thrifting Atlanta. I did my first sale with Thrifting Diva, so if I said Thrifting Atlanta, that was a lie. I think it was April 2 years ago. And then I did my last one, I think April of last year. And then I said, it's getting to be summer. I don't want to be cooped up in this hot room with my room at the house was not reliably air conditioned. So I didn't want to do sales in the summer. So that was my last sale. And I had a friend help me with it, which made it a lot easier because you're always trying to read the comments and sell the items. And when you only have an hour, that everything that takes extra time that isn't actually somebody purchasing something, that eats into your bottom line, really. So while I was taking that time off, I also did a couple of live sales on Instagram. I might redo that in a different way, but it gave me, because it's free, it gave me practice, which was good, and helped me set up things and figure out how to present them, which was really good. I didn't make a lot of money, so there's that. I think I sold 2 items in the whole. I think I did 4, 5, 6 live sales. I used to do them on Fridays. And the reason I did it was not like initially like, oh, I'm going to make $1 million here on Instagram. My reasoning for doing that was to just get comfortable selling things on camera and not having to pay, $75 a shot for the opportunity. So, There are a few people on Facebook now that run their own pages that you can do a live sale with. The thing with doing it with Thrifting Diva and Thrifting Atlanta is because they have a huge amount of followers. They have like 20,000 followers. So you have a good chance of having a lot of people in your audience. But there are some smaller pages that are building up a following, and you can purchase a live with them for like $25 and have access to their, 5,000 followers. And that's always good. Around July, I found out about a plucky little underdog called Whatnot. And I was so confused. I did not know what was going on. Plus, the fact that you have to create an account before you can see anything. I was a little annoyed by that, but so I didn't do it. And then a friend of mine kept saying, no, you got to go see. So, they're making a lot of money on Whatnot and you should do it. So I finally created the account and went on, and I still didn't understand what was going on because I was going into some weird shows. And so I'm like, well, this is not for me. And then I finally went into a show where somebody was just selling, was talking at a normal pace and about normal things and selling things. And I bought my first 2 items from her, and they came and they were, everything she said on screen, which is, you're buying something without physically seeing it or physically touching it. So, there's a chance that, it might not work out, but most of the time for me, it has. So I started selling on Whatnot. I had my first sale, I think it was July 26th, because they keep all your sales in your dashboard. So I think it was July 26th. I sold shoes. I did not make a lot of money. I priced things too low, thinking that people were going to bid them up, but nobody knew who I was, and they didn't know that if I was reliable or not. So they weren't really willing to take a chance and buy something from me on the off chance that, I could be sending them a box of poop or something. I don't know. But since that time, I tend to grow followers very slowly because I'm not really like, ooh, follow me, follow for follow. So February, I know the date, February 15th, I hit 1,000 followers on Whatnot. So big celebration. And I also got rated for the first time that night. So that's why I remember the date. So that was a big thing for me. I still have not had my 1,000 followers celebration yet, which is a thing, but I was moving, so it wasn't going to happen. I didn't even try to figure out what it was going to be. And some people do some like crazy things for their 1,000 followers. Like one girl, I think did 1,000 item giveaway. I'm like, that cost you all the money you just made on Whatnot. That's crazy. But she did it, and I won 2 things, so I'm not fighting. But I think I won 3, and I think she only sent me 2. Anyway, because it went on all night, so it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and there's like 18 people in the room. The chances of you winning something are pretty high. And one of the reasons that I really like Whatnot, mainly for how fast and immediate it is. So I can go sourcing, I can bring stuff home, make it presentable, and be selling it, that night on Whatnot. I can, but I don't have to take a picture. I don't have to write a title. I don't have to write a description. I can sell it on the fly. I can just pick it up and hold it and say, if you would like this, I would run it, I would start the price at $5 or $18 or whatever. And, people could bid on it, or if nobody says run it, then you just put it back and it can go back in the pile and you can list it on eBay or Poshmark. So, and the other reason that I had to write notes, the other reason that I really like Whatnot is because they take 8% as their commission. You still have to pay, I don't know if it's Stripe or PayPal that they use, but you still have to pay the 2.9 plus 30 cents on each transaction. So that brings it to around 11%, which is still less than, I think one of the cheaper ones. There's other apparently platforms for live sales, but I have not checked them out yet, so I won't talk about them. So like on Poshmark, if you sell something for $10, Posh is going to take $2.95. So you get, so let's say you sold an item that you paid $2 for and you sold it for $10. After Poshmark takes their $2.95, you're left with $7.05. Take away your cost of goods, you've now made $5.05. That same item that you paid $2 for, if you sell it on Whatnot, I'm just going to use 10% because that's easier for me to do in my head. You make $9 and then take away your cost of good of $2 and you get $7. So $7 versus $5 on a $10 item. You can see why people are more likely to sell items at a lesser cost because they move faster. And if you're doing things like buying pallets and you're selling, things for $40 and $50 and $60, that adds up quickly. So like a $50 item that sells on Poshmark yields you $40. It yields you about $45 on Whatnot. And that's before your cost of goods are taken out. So that's something to keep in mind. And for me anyway, just the way I can prep things, so the meat of the sandwich, the ham in the sandwich is your live and how much money you make. The bread, the top slice of bread is how much time you put in to get that item ready to sell. The bottom bread of the sandwich is how much time that takes you to package it up. So with Poshmark, the bottom bread is quick because everything is going to go in a priority box. You don't have to find a box that's not priority, or whatever. But you can also, use, if you only have a 12 by 12 box and you're selling a swimsuit, you can put that item in a 12 by 12 box and the person is still paying the same amount of shipping on Poshmark. Whereas, if I sell something on first class, on Whatnot, I got to find a poly mailer or a box or whatever. And so that's your bottom half time. And then your top half time is all the time that you prep, and you include in that writing your description, writing your item up so it will sell. So bottom line, Poshmark versus Whatnot, and Poshmark has live sales too now. So you're creating a listing, which if you sell live on Poshmark, you don't necessarily have to do. There's a way to get around it. And the bottom half, the bottom piece of bread on Poshmark is very easy. It's very easy on Whatnot too. However, you do have to run the gamut between media rate, first rate, and priority shipping. So the buyer doesn't get a choice. If you sell a book and it's in the book category, the buyer pays media rate shipping. One of the major differences, I think, with Poshmark, because Poshmark is very keen on the PFF, Posh Friends Forever or whatever. So they want you to follow, they want you to share, they want you to share your items, they want you to share other people's items, and they want you to host parties, they want you to be in parties, and if you're a Posh ambassador, they automatically, when new people sign up, they're set up to follow Posh ambassadors. So I can never follow everybody in my feed because Poshmark is always funneling new people into my Posh feed. So every time I share my item, it potentially goes to all the people in my Posh feed. In an ideal world, that doesn't happen. So with Whatnot, you kind of have to be more active to build your audience. So you have to show up at other shows. You have to, be communicative. chat with the host or chat with the other people in the show that are, you know, in the comments section. And through that, people get to know who you are. They get to either know your sense of humor or what you like. Or, you know, I was in the show, a show the other day, and they were like, oh, you know, Susie, I have your, that's funny, I keep saying Susie, my landlord's name is Susie. Anyway, I have some of the, you know, embroidered tea towels that you like. So I pinged you, and I, you know, so you get to know people like that, where on Poshmark and the other platforms, it's and I don't know, it seems a little more stalkery. It probably isn't, but I really like the direct communication. I like that I've, you know, I've made Posh friends too, but that I've made, you know, Whatnot friends, and I can have a communication with people. And there's been times where it's like, oh, you know, I put this, I bundled this, but then I fell asleep and I didn't buy it. And, you know, somebody will say, you know, your seller will say, oh yeah, I figured, because you always showed up for your sales before, so I just saved it for you. So that's always nice. If you would like to sign up for the Whatnot, and follow and attend my shows, but you don't have to, you can sign up using my code POSH_salad, and you will get $10 credit off of your first sale. So you have to buy your first sale, and it has to go through and get paid and everything, and then you get a $10 credit, and I also get a $10 credit. So yay, money. eBay also has live sales, but I can't seem to catch them, and they're only sneakers and purses that I can't afford, and watches and stuff like that. eBay wants to forget about the ordinary people a little bit. You know, the bread and butter people. eBay is going after the sneaker dollars, the designer dollars, and that money is there, but that's not what eBay built its audience on. And there are people that have found platforms. It's a little late in the game for eBay to try to change, you know, the costume. You know, they made, what did they made their money off of Pez or something, you know, and I feel like they've kind of forgotten their roots, but you know, that's the thing for another show. So I feel like Whatnot and live sales in general are fun. You get to see people's personalities. I've gone to shows where, you know, the host is dressed up and in a costume and, you know, playing a character. I've gone to shows where people are just like, you know, opening up a storage unit that they bought, and they're just like, here, this is this. And they're just holding up like, here's a pair of wrinkled Nike pants. And, you know, we're starting this at $4, and people will, you know, buy it. And I've gone to shows where people are like, here is a Louis Vuitton purse. We're starting this at $1,500, and, you know, get $1,500, $2,000. So I really appreciate that there's something for everybody on Whatnot. And I love that you get to own your own time. So you can be in costume, you can have, you know, play silly games. I've done a trivia show before. I'm doing another one, I think on the 13th of April. And I love that aspect of it, because you can set it up for how is best for you. And even if you are like, I don't want to be on camera, you can do a show where you're not on camera, where it's just your hands. I watched a show a couple of weeks ago where a woman made, they're called cone dolls, and I can't remember her name. I wish I could. But she was making a cone doll on air. And she was, you know, putting all the little things on it, and putting the little hands and cutting all the little thing. And you're just looking at your work table. I have no idea what she looks like. You're just looking at her work table and her hands, making all the little things, and the gluing and the scissoring. And word choice. At the end, you know, when she was finished, she's like, okay, I'm going to auction this off. And, you know, she got like $80, $90 for this item that she made in like a couple of hours on Whatnot. Let's see, what's next in my notes? My next show. My next show is it's tomorrow, April 6th. And if you see here, there's a bunch of books behind me. These are all craft books and cookbooks. because that's the next thing that needs to take a swift ride out of here. Because I was all happy because I have like this cart that's over here, that I'm like, oh, I have space for my cookbooks. And so my cookbooks are in there. And then I realized that's not all my cookbooks. Where's this cookbook? Where's that cookbook? I'm missing some cookbooks. So gosh darn it. My books will be starting from, I think the lowest I have is $1. They go from $1 to maybe $10 or $8 or something. So that's tomorrow at what time? 8:10 Eastern Standard Time. If you go on to Whatnot and follow Posh Salad, you'll see a list of my shows. I also have a book sale on Saturday. You know what? I'm going to put the links down below. I have a book sale on Saturday, Saturday the 8th. And that's at 9:10. Most of my shows start at 10 after the hour. I also do shows on Poshmark. I'm not as, oh my gosh, when Poshmark first started doing live sales, they started way too soon. They did not have those kinks worked out. And I was so upset because you couldn't do a bundle sale. So you have people that are buying things and you're selling and they want to, they buy like 60, or $60, or they buy, let's say 4 items. Well, the way that they had it set up was the buyer had to pay the $7.67 shipping on each item. And then to circumvent that, the seller had to go in and create okay, it's a bundle listing for Susie and it has a J. Crew dress and some Steve Madden shoes. And then you take all the individual prices minus the shipping and add that up. So maybe it comes up to $50. And then they create a new listing and you have to tell them, okay, you got to pay for the new listing and then I'll cancel the original listings with the individual shipping. However, if you don't, I will be shipping your 4 items individually at $7.67 each item. And I feel like that was a really important thing that should have been rolled out. Like the date should have just been pushed back if they didn't have it, because it took a while for it to happen. And I stopped doing shows because of it, because it just took so much work, because I had so many sales, which was a good thing. That I know one time it took me like 4 hours to get everything redone. What else was I going to say about that? Yeah, I feel like that's something that they should have had worked out. That should have been a priority. Now they have it and it's fine. But I kind of stopped doing Posh shows because of it. And I have to get back on that stick. So, that is my experience. That is what I have been up to these many, many months since you've last seen me. Hopefully there will be a little bit of a tour of my inventory room as soon as it stops looking like, the Goodwill exploded. That is all. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you're new to Poshmark, you can sign up with Poshmark with my code Posh_salad. And that is also the same code to use for Whatnot. So if you come on any of those platforms and you see me, please say hi. I would love to know that it's you. And especially on the Whatnot, where we can have a conversation. You type, I talk. And if you have a show, if you're already doing shows on Poshmark or on Whatnot, let me know in the comments below and give me a link and I will follow you and hopefully get to see some of your shows. All right. Thank you so much and toodles.